Setting up the meeting. Here we go. Whew. It's been one of those mornings.
Whatever, we'll roll with it. It's all good.
Exactly. All right. So we are now live. So thank you everybody for coming by and checking out today's Facebook Live. I have the pleasure of having Terri here with me from eXp, and we're going to be talking about eXp Express Offers and what it is. But before we get too far into that, Terri, if you would just kind of introduce yourself to the audience or whoever's watching or watching the replay, so they kind of understand where you're coming from.
Sure. Aaron, thanks for having me today. Super excited about doing this. I love talking about this. I eat, drink, and sleep express offers right now. So my name is Terri Jeffries. I'm the manager of express offers development for eXp Realty. I'm a 26-year real estate veteran, have worn every hat in the industry. I've run offices. I've been a managing broker for 25 of those 26 years. And in this capacity, working as a staff employee for eXp and one of 4 people who have developed this Express Offers platform. So what is it? Well, briefly, eXp Realty built a proprietary iBuying software called Express Offers that's going to allow our eXp agents to connect their seller clients with institutional buyers who buy in cash in a short time frame. This exclusive tool is going to allow agents to provide more convenient options to their seller clients.
That's pretty cool. So this is I guess kind of like an iBuyer platform. I mean, I'm sure a lot of people understand what iBuyers are, but
Well,
it's not quite an iBuyer platform, right?
let's talk about that a little bit. Okay, so one of the things, one of the value propositions that we can bring to our sellers is to become that trusted advisor, to really take the hand of a seller and be able to walk them through this very complex transaction. First of all, selling a home to begin with is complex.
Very true.
Okay. And because of our internet age, you've got a lot of consumers who are sitting in, 10 o'clock at night in their jammies and they're trolling the internet and they come across an ad that says, get a cash offer, right? And they
Yep.
click on it and they fill out the form. And before you know it, they may or may not be getting a cash offer on their property. Problem is that they don't know what they don't know, right? And statistically speaking, the average adult sells 3 homes in their lifetime. Okay, 3. That's it. 3
Yeah.
times.
Not
As real
many.
estate professionals, hopefully we're doing that 3 times a week at
Yeah.
least,
At least.
right? So the problem with this whole industry segment right now is that the consumer is lured by the offer of cash. Okay. And that conjures up all kinds of things, preconceived notions, they're actually going to bring a suitcase of cash into the closing and we're going to be done and it's going to be great. But what they don't understand is there are a lot of steps in that process where you need a professional to talk about pricing, about repairs, about timeframes, about the consumer's true decision that needs to be made in terms of convenience versus top dollar. Okay. Now, I'm sure you're familiar when you meet with most sellers are going to want top dollar. They're going to want the very
Correct.
most they can possibly get for their house, right?
Absolutely.
Reasonable,
Yep.
right? However, we have millions of sellers in the marketplace that need convenience. And what I mean by that is, say the seller has a situation, they have a job transfer. They have to be in a new location in 30 days. God forbid they have a death in their family. There's a divorce. I can give you a litany of reasons why a seller may need that cash option, or in this instance, that convenience option to satisfy their needs. Okay. But what we have to make sure the consumer understands is convenience costs money, right? Convenience is
Correct.
expensive. When's the last time you went into a 7-Eleven and bought a loaf of bread?
Yeah, it's not cheap. And I
You
have
know,
5
it's
kids at home, so yeah, we go through bread crazy, like
right.
crazy.
Or a gallon of milk, a
Yep,
loaf of bread. If you go into a 7-Eleven, into the convenience store, right? When you go in there, a loaf of bread's going to cost you damn near $5, right?
absolutely.
Convenience has a price, but some sellers absolutely need the convenience. They may not want to go through the hassle of doing the repairs to get their home market ready. They may not want to have, I mean, God, you know, we're in this era of pandemic, right? They may not want to stage their home. They may not want to show their home. They may not want people traipsing through their house. You know, some seller clients, depending on their need, will gladly choose taking that, you know, proverbial haircut, choosing convenience over top dollar. So what we're doing at eXp, or what we have done, is we've created a marketplace of buyers. Okay. And in our marketplace of buyers, we vet and onboard institutional investors. Let me touch on that really quick too, because
Okay.
I forgot that part. So vocabulary. Okay,
Yep,
here we
yep.
go. Vocabulary lesson 101. When you hear the term iBuyer, there's a lot of coined phrases that go along with that. In our discussion today, iBuyer equals institutional investor. Okay, institutional investor. You're going to hear things like internet buyer, instant buyer, all kinds of craziness, you know, substituting that I.
Yeah. Hold on one second. UPS guy just walked in. Give me 1 second.
Oh my goodness, the UPS
Gotta
guy.
love live video. Yeah, you can leave it right there. I'll get it over to him. Yeah, yeah. Frank's in there right now, so. Yep. My last name is Bowman. Yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah,
Okay.
I got to
Gotta
tell
love
you
live
guys just on
video.
a little secret here. Aaron totally threw this on me this morning. So this is completely spontaneous right now.
Yes, it is. Yes, it
It's
is.
completely
Yes, it is.
spontaneous.
Yep.
So our vocabulary lesson, iBuyer in our context today equals institutional investor. Okay. Now, another thing that consumers need to know, Aaron, is that there is a difference between all iBuyers. Okay. They're not all the same. Some have a different end game. So right now, the consumer has probably seen marketing materials from what I call the big three. Okay. And the big three is Open Door, OfferPad, Zillow Offers.
Yep.
Okay. These companies, these big three companies, are Wall Street money, venture capitalist funded, huge corporations, publicly trading. I mean, Open Doors, their IPOs, I think, hitting Thursday. And they are on a mission to buy as many homes as possible, except they have a very narrow buy box. And what I mean by that is that their buying criteria is very limited. You know, they want the very low hanging fruit. They want the houses that are 3-bedroom, 2-bath on a ranch, you know, very cookie cutter style homes, because it's then easy for them to run in, do new paint, new carpet, you know, I call it putting lipstick on the pig, right?
Yep. Yep. Fluff
They,
and
you
puff.
know, yeah, they make it pretty
Yep.
and then they put it back on the market. But in that endeavor, what they're really trying to do is generate leads. And then what they're really trying to do is sell leads back to realtors. Okay.
Correct.
Now,
Yeah, I actually, going back to one of your points about the person sitting at home at night and going through the internet and getting sucked into one of those lead funnels as far as, hey, get cash offers. There was a company that reached out to me and I tried them for like 3 months and they literally were telling people about cash offers, but then they're sending it to me saying, well, we told them this is what their house would be worth, but they might want to list with a realtor too. And I was like, that's such a bait and switch, it was, so I'm calling these people and they were like, no, we just wanted to sell. We're moving out of state and we don't want to list with a realtor and that sort of thing. So yeah,
yeah.
there's a
Well,
lot
let's
of that out
explore
there.
that. Yeah, let's explore that a little bit. So, you know, the big three, of course, did come off as a bait and switch because either sellers weren't getting offers, and keep in mind the big three did not employ professional realtors in their endeavor, right? They were using what we call AVMs, automated valuation models.
Mhm.
Okay. So they would put the property statistics into one of these AVMs. It would spit out a value based on data, based on public record, based on statistics and data from other internet sources, right? And these companies would come up with a value. The problem is that an AVM can't smell the cat,
Yep.
right?
Exactly.
And so, it kind of goes back, and maybe some of your audience has heard the whole Zillow discussion, right? When the Zestimate came out and
Yeah.
how
Oh, yeah.
off they were, right? Well, a lot of these companies are still using that AVM model to evaluate houses. What they failed to realize, and why this is so important for us, right? We're keeping the agent in the transaction, in the cash transaction, because we need the agent to be able to evaluate that automated valuation model, to study it, to be able to pull the right comps, to be able to give the right property valuation out of the box. Then the agent can submit it to our express offers program. The iBuyers, whether it be one, two, several, will have an opportunity to make an offer on the property. The agent, let's just say you, Aaron,
Okay. Sounds
you,
good.
yep, you then have the opportunity as the trusted advisor of the seller, you then have the opportunity to lay those offers out side by side, do what we call a comparison net sheet. So in other words, you're going to list all of the potential selling expenses for the seller. Okay. Keep in mind those big three, while it sounds great, they have a huge convenience fee they tack on to this transaction. And
Yep.
sometimes I've heard as high as 12%.
That's
Of course,
crazy.
I can't speak for other companies. I don't know what their convenience fees are, but I'm hearing anywhere from 6 to 12% as a convenience fee.
And I got to imagine most home sellers are just falling out of the chair when they see that.
Well, but see, that's what happens. They don't realize when they're, 10 o'clock at night and they're clicking around and they get the cash offer, it's not real clear that the big three, one of those companies is going to tag on that convenience fee. So why it's so important for your audience to understand they need that realtor, they need an EXP agent in that transaction, is because, Aaron, you can not only use express offers, you could, if instructed to by the seller, you could aggregate offers from the big three. You can show the seller what it's going to look like to go down the traditional road. And what I mean by that is actually doing the repairs, getting the house cleaned up and staged, market ready so that you can put it on the MLS, right?
Right.
And you can take that comparison net sheet and you can lay out those scenarios for a seller side by side. And the seller will be able to see what the anticipated, obviously these are just estimates, but they're usually pretty close.
Right.
The anticipated net proceeds. So in other words, what the seller will actually walk away from the sale with after they pay their expenses, after they pay, maybe commissions, maybe title fees, maybe tax prorations, maybe paying off their mortgage, right?
Hmm.
So after the agent filters all of those expenses for the seller, lays it out in a side-by-side comparison, let's say you've got two express offers, one offer from Open Door, and then you've got the traditional route. What happens if they sold it on the market? The seller can say, well, I like this number, the open market number. I love that number, but I can't wait 65 days, which is
Right.
the average market time. I got to be out of here in 30 days. Okay, so now we're back to the convenience versus top dollar. So one of the express offers might be a little lower or might be a lot lower. I don't know. What's it worth to them? But
Right.
the point of all of this is, Aaron, is that the seller should not feel stressed or obligated to make a decision without having all of the information laid out in front of them. And what we have found, I mean, just go to Yelp. If you go to Yelp and pull up one of those big three, you're going to see reviews that are smoking bad because, because sellers don't know what they don't know.
True.
So let me tell you a really quick story.
Yeah,
You mind?
absolutely.
Okay. So John John sells his house to one of the big three. Okay. Had to be out in 30 days. They gave him what he thought was a great offer. Okay. He took the money, he closed, off he went. Right. A few months later, his buddy Bill has a cocktail party and he's invited back to the neighborhood to the cocktail party. Right. And so he's having a conversation and, they're talking, yeah, man, you sold your house really quick. That was awesome. And, but by the way, you know, uh, Dave down the street, and they're in a cookie cutter type subdivision, right?
Yep.
Dave down the street just sold his house as well, and he got $35,000 more than you did. Well, of
Tough pill to
course,
swallow.
he's going, what the hell? What do you
Yeah.
mean? What do you mean? Well, now he's pissed,
Right.
right? He's mad as a hatter because he didn't know what he didn't know. He had a goal. He had to get out of there. He thought he got a good price. He did not employ a realtor to help him evaluate that price. He took the money and run. And what he discovered was that he left $35,000 on the table. So now he's mad, right? Now he's going to Yelp and going, oh, they took $35,000 of my money. Well, no, they didn't. And, kind of in defense of this industry segment, I'm going to say, no, they didn't. They represent themselves. They made you an offer, you took it. What the consumer, what the sellers out there, what your audience needs to understand is don't make a decision based on only half of the information, right? You've got to get that trusted advisor on the scene so they can explain all of this to you. They can lay it out for you. And then when you see all of your choices, and that's our claim to fame with express offers, right? We want our seller clients to have all the choices, pick which one is best for you.
Yeah, and that's what I liked when I went through the training that EXP offers for this to get, because everybody at EXP, if they want to use it, has to be, certified in it. And I went through the training, and that was one of the things I liked was the net sheet and being able to really just be transparent with my clients, whether they want to list with me or not, just meeting with them, saying, listen, this is, these are all your options, pick your options. Like I tell everybody I work with, listen, you're driving the bus. I'm just giving you a couple different roads to go down,
That's right.
and I think that's the biggest thing is there's, it does seem like sometimes there is a little bit of lack of transparency with certain dealings within real estate, but being able to just lay it all out on the table and say, here you go, regardless of what you pick, I'm good with it, just
That's
kind of
right.
like, and that's what I like about that net sheet.
Because you know what? Here's the thing, Aaron. a lot of a lot of agents in the marketplace, and it's really not their fault. It's just a lack of training and probably the wrong training. But so many agents go into an appointment with a seller just reeking of commission breath,
Ugh.
right?
Yep.
Right. What we teach, or what I teach in that training, and what I teach as many agents as I get my hands on across eXp, what I teach is this is a long-term play. Okay. I want my seller client to be the happiest camper, because then they tell a friend, and then they tell a friend, and then they tell a friend. Right. And what I want is, you know what, if I have to take a hit on, I don't know, I don't even want to talk about commission, but what I want my seller to know is that I am the trusted advisor. I've given them all the options. They can feel confident walking away knowing they made an informed decision, and what they picked is what they picked.
Right.
So that's really kind of what look, let me just say this. The Our end game with express offers isn't necessarily to sell to one of our institutional investors. Okay. If that happens, great. We love it. It can close quickly, no hassle transaction. The agent can facilitate the whole thing, and boom, it's done. Okay. But really what we want our agents to do is to service that client at a level that far exceeds our competition, to give them all of those options, to acquire a lifelong client and help them from that point on. It's funny, most people get things like doctors for life, lawyers for life, contractors they find that they have for life, right? And um realtors, for some reason, the largest, most likely the largest financial transaction most people will ever make in their life. And realtors are kind of one and done. It's crazy to me. I've never
Yeah.
understood it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I've talked long enough.
No,
What kind of
that's like,
questions you got for me, Aaron?
all right. So we've talked a little bit about the program, how it works. So I do have some friends that are investors that are probably watching this on Facebook. I just want to pull it up real quick to see if there's any comments yet or anything like that. So let me just take a quick look. Uh, Not right this second. So with that being said, I know we're really close to opening this up here in Connecticut. If
We
there
are.
are any investors that I'm friends with on Facebook, what are, without going into too many of the details, what are kind of like the basics of getting qualified to be part of the Express Offers platform?
Yeah. So, we'll swing the pendulum the other way and talk about it from the investor side. It's very simple from the investor side of this, right? We're simply a lead source for them.
Okay.
That's it. We're simply a lead source. They don't pay anything to join the platform or to become one in our marketplace of buyers. The vetting process is very simple. We ask that they are professional institutional investors, though. So they need to have done at least 25 closed transactions in the last 12 rolling months. Okay.
Okay.
They need to provide us with a proof of funds letter that has the bank name on it, the corporation name on it, a date, and then a cash balance. Because again, we have to maintain our brand promise to the consumers, which is we have a marketplace of cash buyers. Okay.
Right. No
So
wholesalers or assignment of
no
contracts.
wholesalers, no assignments of contracts. These are clean, seamless transactions with institutional investors that have been vetted and meet the criteria. The hope is, of course, to make the transaction for the seller as quick and as clean and as seamless as humanly possible. Okay. So
Okay.
we are not, and this is going to sound a little counterintuitive, but stay with me for a second.
All right.
What we are trying to do as EXP agents is obviously give our agents a rock star type tool to be able to give the best service we possibly can to our sellers. Okay. Our end game is not necessarily to serve the marketplace of buyers. Okay. Now, of course, we want to keep them happy. We need to have several of them so that there's variety, there's multiple offers, there's all kinds of these advantages for sellers. But we know statistically that cash offers, regardless from who, okay? So whether it be the big three, from Express Offers, from your local investor, we know that cash offers, especially in our COVID pandemic era, right, will only happen about 2 to 3% of the time. So in other words, the investors, the institutional investors, will have to see 100 properties, run it through their business model, make sure that they're actually making a margin because that's what they're doing this for, so they can make a profit, right?
Correct. Yeah.
And will probably only buy or offer, well, they may offer on a lot, but they will probably only buy about 2 to 3% of the time. And I get those statistics from the big three. There's national reporting that is done, and those statistics, 2019 pre-COVID, the big three were gaining about a 6% market share in their most concentrated areas. So that was in Phoenix, Arizona, and Raleigh, North Carolina. Okay. COVID, of course, has kind of tamped all that down. Now they're running about 2 to 3%.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
crazy.
It's,
So,
well, sellers are scared. Everybody's
yeah.
scared. They think, well, I need to wait this out so that I don't want people in my house. And the virtual tour thing, it's cool and all, but is somebody really gonna buy a house off a video? Who
Yeah, I
knows?
mean, we
I don't
do all
know.
that on my team too. We do the 360 tours, we do the videos, we do the photos and everything. And at the end of the day, that gets a lot of traction online, but the person still has to walk to the property. And I've worked with some people that are in the older demographics that are at that point where they can be more susceptible to the virus. And then I've worked with
Yeah.
some, probate properties where if this was available in Connecticut earlier this year, it would have been so much more easier for my client because we had to put it on the market. An investor was going to come in and buy it. Then he disappeared, never showed up. And then we ended up selling it. Another eXp agent came in with her investor and they ended up, buying the property, fixing it up, putting it back on the market. But I can see how this is going to benefit a lot of people, especially here in the Connecticut market. That again, a lot of, we have people moving in from New York right now, but we also have a lot of people that are the older demographics that want to be the snowbirds, that want to go down to Florida. And, they want to be able to, maybe sell their main house up here, rent when they come up or what have you. But to have, 20 people come through on a Saturday, it's one, it's not really that safe right now. I mean, we're still
Right.
doing it, but we're limiting how many people come and go. But at the same time, I can see how this is going to benefit a lot of people once it hits the market here in Connecticut.
Yeah, look, everybody wants choices, right? But the problem is sometimes the consumer doesn't even know they have choices, and
True.
so we're kind of on a mission. We're on a mission to mm, intercept that 10 o'clock at night click through and let our consumers know and understand that, hey, look, it's information's free, right? It's not going to cost you anything to have one of our EXP agents, you, Aaron, to have you lay out all the options,
See, that was going
right?
to be my next question. If this is going to
Yeah.
cost the homeowner anything. So,
Well, not up front to get the
right.
information. I mean, this is totally free. So, just like the clicking through and saying, I want a cash offer from one of the big three, that's free too. But when they get the offer, do they even understand what it is? Do they understand how the fees actually break down? Do they know what their net proceeds are going to be? I will venture to tell you that most don't.
Nope,
Right? They
not at
go,
all.
oh my God, I paid 150 for my house 4 years ago, and I just got an offer for 225. Woohoo! Except they don't understand that there's a 12% convenience fee tacked onto that. Okay, I have to take off my shoes to do the math, but whatever 12%
Yep.
of 225 is, um, there's selling expenses that go along with that. That cash offer may not be the best cash offer we can get them, and it may not be the best solution to meet their needs. But consumers in general will look at that sale price and think that's the bee's knees, right? That's what they
Right.
need to pay attention to is the sale price. Sale price doesn't matter. What matters is what you walk away from the sale with.
Exactly.
And there's
After all
different
your
factors.
fees you
So,
paid and, your
yeah.
attorneys and everything like that. Now, if somebody wants to use the express offer, they can still use the attorney of their choice, right? If they have a real estate attorney they would like to use, that doesn't play into this at all. They can still pick the same
Oh, of course.
attorney and
Oh,
stuff
of
like
course.
that. Okay.
This is a regular real estate transaction. The
Gotcha.
buyer is just an institutional investor. The
Okay. So,
only difference is that our agents have had access to our marketplace of buyers. So truly, Aaron, you can go out into your marketplace and you have a checkbook in your back pocket.
don't tell
Period.
my wife that. No.
You you have a checkbook in your back pocket and you can literally produce cash for a seller immediately if that's what their needs are.
Gotcha. So now here's a question for you. I don't even know if I guess I'm probably going to answer this myself, but let's say for myself, like I plan on putting my house in the market next year. We're thinking of selling, because we're starting to outgrow it. Now, can an EXP agent sell their own house to an iBuyer or through the Express platform?
Yes, they
Okay.
can. There's some agency issues that we can talk about offline. Is
Yeah, no, I was
Connecticut,
just curious, just kind
yeah,
of
is
popped into my head.
Connecticut a dual agency state?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm in Illinois, and I would consider myself a licensed law content matter expert in Illinois, right? In Illinois licensed law.
Right.
So I'd have to do a little bit of checking with your state DMBs, but as long as the disclosure, the agency position disclosure is transparent to both buyer and seller, you'll be good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, the big question, because I know people that are watching this that might be on the fence of selling or thinking, hey, listen, I would love this express offer. I would love not to have a bunch of people come through my house. I just want to get my house sold. I've got to move, whatever it is. Maybe, like you said, divorce or probate property. Do we have a timeline as when this is going to hit Connecticut?
It should be, what's today?
Today is
Wednesday.
the 9th. Yes.
We are extremely close. So I'm going to tell you, I'm not going to let you put my feet to the fire, Aaron. Sorry. But
That's right.
I would guesstimate early next week at the latest.
Awesome. Awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
Fantastic.
So it's a big deal. Now, for agents out there, if we've got agents that are maybe not with our company, or we've got eXp agents who maybe haven't gotten certified, um, guys, it's time to get on the bus. Okay.
Absolutely.
This industry option is not going away. You will not be keeping up with your competition if you don't know what this is, you don't understand how to use it. Okay. Super important that you get on the bus. And I will tell you, we are the only brokerage in the entire country that is offering this kind of service. The only brokerage.
That's just another reason why I don't want to turn this into an EXP pitch, but
No, yeah.
it's still a
I
great
could go
reason.
there.
Yeah, that to join the company. I mean, between the other ways we get paid with the company, I mean, this is just another tool that I think is really going to make things a lot, I don't want to say easier, but I think as even a newer agent getting through this training, when you're going to meet with a potential client and showing them their options, they're going to be like, well, the last two agents I interviewed didn't have this. And, I was online last night and I went to this one website and they told me a cash offer, but then some realtor called me and just wants to list the property. I mean, even as a newer agent coming into this career, being able to walk into somebody's house confidently enough and saying, hey, listen, here's all your options. And regardless of what they pick, you're going to be happy as an agent, which is
And
huge.
they're going to be happy as a seller. So, here's the thing. The National Association of Realtors, Aaron, has statistics demonstrating that agents who focus on building their listing skills and are listing agents versus working with buyers make 3 times more money. Okay. 3 times more money. So we're in the months of business planning, right? Now we'll talk directly to agents here for a second, right?
Yep,
You should be
absolutely.
doing your 2021 business plan. If you haven't done it already, you should roll up your sleeves, friends, get it done, right? In your 2021 business plan should be building your skills at some level. I'm going to compel you, hopefully, to focus on listings. How can you be the trusted advisor for your seller clients? How can you get more listings? Because if you do, you can rewrite your 2021 business plan in multiples of 3. And you're going to go, multiples of 3? What?
Yeah,
Multiples
explain
of
that.
3. I'll explain it. So here's how. The house itself is going to sell. When you list a house, right? The house is going to sell. The sellers have to live somewhere. Move up, move down, referral, transfer, who cares? It's another transaction, right?
Right.
And then the third transaction from one seller client, the third transaction is the buyer pool that you're going to create from your rockstar marketing, from the sign in the yard, from your influencer, your social media channels, wherever that comes from. You should have the skill, or better yet, the team member that can convert that buyer into another transaction. So one interaction with a potential seller client, if you build your skills and you do it right, will most likely turn into 3 transactions, multiples of 3. It's a beautiful
Yep.
thing.
That's a great point. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Well, Terry, I want to say we've been talking for a little bit here. And like I said earlier, I had a hot water leak in my basement. So
Oh
I
yeah.
definitely need to go
Yeah.
home and take care of that. But I really appreciate you taking the time out of day. I know this is kind of sprung on you. This is supposed to be kind of like a strategy, like talking about it first before we actually jumped into it. But I'm glad we could get it out there today and just jump right into it. I like to kind of keep things as real as possible here. And, you know, we
Well,
had
I
the
hope I
UPS guy
delivered
come.
on what you were hoping for, Aaron,
Yeah,
truly.
no, it was great. Other than the UPS guy coming and Stryker puked up his
Eh,
dinner or his breakfast over in the corner while we were talking.
lovely.
It's just one of those things. It's just you can't plan this stuff.
And
But
who cares? We don't even want to. We just want to make sure we're getting the info out there, right?
and that's the biggest thing. I want all my followers on Facebook and YouTube and all the potential clients coming down the road or clients that I'm talking to now. or anybody thinking of selling, that this is a viable option and it's really going to give you your options. That's what I like about this more than anything else, is it gives the client options as opposed to being stuck to just a traditional listing, or maybe selling on their own, or maybe dealing with that wholesaler that comes to their house because it's a probate property. Really seeing the numbers, being very analytical, and understanding what they're getting at the end of the day. And I think that's huge. I can't wait for this to go live in Connecticut.
Agreed. Again, my mission is to my mission to get out there is sellers, consumers, please, you don't know what you don't know. Some do, but most don't. And so let us help you. Let us lay this all out for you. Let us show you your options so you can pick the one that is best for you.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you, Terri. I appreciate it. And guys, if you're watching the replay on this, and girls, feel free to leave comments down below. I'll be more than happy to answer them. And if I don't know them, I'll just forward them to Terri and she can
You
answer
just
them.
ask me. Yeah, no problem at all.
All right.
Information's free.
Awesome. Thank you, Terri.
All right. Have